Hi everybody, I'm Rick Beato. Today's Everything Music is called Basics of Music Theory Part 1, Intervals, Keys, and Chords. Let's get started. Intervals are the building blocks of polyphonic music. Each of the 12 intervals that we use in Western music have vastly different sound characteristics and must be committed to memory, both orally and visually. Intervals can be sounded two ways. They can be sounded separately, which are called melodic intervals, or together, which are called harmonic intervals. There are 12 intervals within the span of an octave, but many more interval names. I'll show you why. In Western music, intervals are described by two properties. The first being the quality, perfect, major, minor, augmented, or diminished, and the second is the number, unison, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, and so on. These names describe not only the difference in semitones between the upper and lower notes, but also how the interval is spelled. The half step, also known as the semitone, is found on the piano between the notes B and C and E and F. The half step is the building block on which all larger intervals are built. There are two qualities of intervals, perfect and imperfect. Perfect intervals include the unison, fourth, fifth, and octave. Imperfect includes the seconds, thirds, sixths, and sevenths. Perfect intervals become augmented when enlarged by a half step and become diminished when reduced by a half step. Imperfect intervals become augmented when enlarged by a half step and become minor when reduced by a half step. Minor intervals become major when enlarged by a half step and become diminished when reduced by a half step. In order to accurately name the interval, the first thing we need to do is figure out how many letter names are spanned. Meaning, if I go from the note C to F, you go C, D, E, F. So it's some type of fourth because there's four letter names spanned. If it goes C up to A, that's C, D, E, F, G, A. It's some type of sixth. Now all we have to do is figure out whether it's major, minor, perfect, diminished, or augmented. The next thing we need to talk about are enharmonic intervals. Now, enharmonic intervals refer to intervals that are spelled differently than they sound. If I play this interval, you would say, oh, that's a minor seventh interval, B flat to A flat. But if I tell you this is really B flat to G sharp, B flat, C, D, E, F, G, it's some type of sixth. It sounds like a minor seventh, but it's really an augmented sixth. So it really depends on the context on what the interval is. That's called an enharmonic interval. Same thing as if I do from G flat down to C. If I go G, F, E, D, C, there's 5 letter names spanned. But that interval is a tritone, so it is called a diminished fifth. If it were a regular fifth, it would be from G to C, but this is from G flat to C. That is another enharmonic interval. Chord construction. The stacking of two third intervals produces triads. A major triad has a major third on the bottom and a minor third on the top. Between the two outer voices is a perfect fifth interval. A minor triad is just the reverse. It has a minor third on the bottom and a major third on top. The augmented triad is two major thirds stacked, and the diminished triad is two minor thirds stacked. There are also a set of triads where the middle note of the chord is altered in some way. The first of these is a suspended four triad. That is a perfect fourth interval with a major second interval on top. Next is the Lydian triad, which has an augmented fourth interval with a minor second on top. We also have the suspended two triad, which is a major second interval on the bottom and a perfect fourth interval on top. And lastly, we have the Phrygian triad, which is a minor second on the bottom and an augmented fourth on the top. Next, we have the circle of fifths. This chart will help you figure out which notes are sharped or flatted in any given major or minor key. Every major key has a corresponding relative minor key whose tonic is located a minor third below the root of the major key. This is also true in reverse. Every minor key has a relative major key that's located a minor third above. In each case, they both share the same key signature. For example, the key of G and the key of E minor both have one sharp, which is F sharp. Or the key of E flat major and C minor both share the same key signature, which has 3 flats, B flat, E flat, and A flat. Sharps appear in key signatures in a specific order: F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, D sharp, A sharp, E sharp, and B sharp. Just like sharps, flats appear in a specific order as well. It happens to be the reverse order of the sharps: B flat, E flat, A flat, D flat, G flat, C flat, and F flat. That concludes part 1 of my Basics of Music Theory. In part 2, we'll be covering chord scales, modes, and progressions. Remember, click here to subscribe, and thanks for watching.